It's like the best video ever.
This is great.
We got 25 minutes. We got to go.
Hey.
What's going on, guys? Happy Wednesday.
Hey, everyone. It's another Wednesday in March. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. If this is the first time that you're with us on Say That channel, please go ahead and put a 1 in the chat so we can shout you out and welcome you to Say That Nation. Here on Say That channel, we are unapologetic about the ugly come up of entrepreneurship and small business ownership as well. We've all heard those stories about how, you start off with nothing, or someone started off with nothing, and then they have massive success. And you're like, but what happened in the middle? What happened during the ugly come up? Well, that is what we're here, folks. That's why we're here, to talk about the ugly come up and all the nitty gritty things that that they don't tell you. We're here to talk about that. And if you haven't been with us before, what you may not know is that we have 25 minutes to answer a topic question of the day. And it is a lot of fun. The topics, keep bringing the topics to us. We love what you guys are bringing to us. Keep those coming. But for the month of March, it's all about March MLM madness. That's right. You may have heard it as MLM, multi-level marketing. You may have know it as network marketing. Some people even call it direct sales, right? All the different things. You probably have even heard the story of me and Winston meeting each other through a network marketing company. This is our first love, this industry. We love talking about this industry. And so we love devoting the month of March to all topics related to that.
All right, so let's jump into today's topic.
Is multi-level marketing a scam?
It's time we finally put an answer. Right?
Let's just answer it once and for all. Let's just figure this out, right? So we are actually not going to be the only ones answering this question today. I'm really excited. We've got a returning guest to our show. He's a serial entrepreneur, has extensive experience with the network marketing himself. He is your financial CFO. Please, everybody, welcome Sean Hurdle.
Welcome to the show.
All right.
Welcome back, Sean.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to see you guys again.
Awesome. Yeah, well, we're happy to have you here. So we know you, but there are some folks who might be their first time seeing you or meeting you for the first time. So if you don't mind, give us a little bit of background in terms of how you got into entrepreneurship and specifically what your experiences have been with network marketing.
Oh, wow. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I know we only have a few minutes, but one of my very first job, Janelle, was actually selling tea door to door for a nonprofit. It wasn't network marketing.
Oh, very cool.
Maybe it was, but I was selling tea door to door. So I think I mentioned it in the last episode. You talk about rejection. You talk about trying to get rid of a product that people don't necessarily want or need.
Right.
Tea, although chamomile will help you sleep and mint will help you with your digestion, but it was a kind of a horrible experience, but a great learning experience. But growing up, my dad was he transitioned from a career in the medical field to a career in network marketing, and he was very successful. And actually, I mean, we're being candid here. He worked with a company called Primerica, a financial services company. Great company, and they used to call him Mr. Primerica. And he was sold out to it and did very well. He was a registered rep. He had a securities licensure. He had an office and he was responsible for, I believe, $2 to $3 million of assets under management.
Wow.
So, and this was in the 90s.
Yeah.
So a little bit more about my history is, he always wanted me to get involved in that industry. And it wasn't until years later, after I tried a lot of different jobs, a lot of different network marketing gigs, that I came back and decided to get into financial services and work with the firm I work with now.
Very cool.
Love that story. I love hearing from the children of parents who were doing network marketing. I just feel like your way of viewing the world is so much different from others.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's amazing to think, when I was growing up, I didn't really know the difference between network marketing, and there wasn't as many companies as there are now. And, in the internet era, I think that companies have been able to really look at these models and apply it to a lot of different industries, every industry practically. And so I think that it's pretty amazing. I mean, every industry has network marketing, right? And it goes by so many different names. I mean, I looked it up, and there's just so many different names. I mean, we call it direct marketing, we call it network marketing, obviously MLM, and they're not all the same. They're not all the same. And I think to answer the question of the day, and this is a controversial topic, so I was super happy when I saw this, and I honestly didn't look at it until later in the invitation when you all invited me. But in my opinion, no, MLMs aren't a scam. My caveat to that answer would be that there's a lot of scams that are designed as MLM, and they can be very complicated in structure. So I think it's important to look up companies that you're looking at working at, and don't get sold right away. Because if you're anyone like me, I really buy into things very quickly. And so when I looked at, I was selling some drinks and a lot of different things, and then I realized, like, oh, wait a minute, this isn't kind of what I was anticipating. I didn't do my research enough. But LinkedIn has a top 10 list of why network marketing is great. There's less investment, there's less risk. There can be some great products that you can promote, and there's unlimited income potential. There's no need for higher education. There's passive income. There's no employees. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And so personally, I followed what I knew, right? I mean, there's, especially in financial services, there's so many network marketing companies, but we're in a highly regulated industry. I have to have multiple licenses in every state that I do business in. And so really, the companies that I represent, they wouldn't sign off on a company that was fraudulent or any type of scheme or scam.
Very good. All right, so I would love to jump in.
Yes,
I definitely was. I was chomping at the bits with this as well, and I actually love that this is how we're actually going to finish off the month, because I completely agree with what Sean just said. There is and we talked about this last week. There's a lot of ignorance around, and it's rightfully so, because to Sean's point, there are a lot of companies that try to model themselves as network marketing companies in terms of, or multi-level marketing companies, because of what they claim is how their pay structures are paid out. But what you're realizing is what those people are in, the bad ones are more pyramid schemes where someone's compensated for bringing someone else in. They're not necessarily being compensated for selling a product. So if you can, when you do your research about any company, and this goes for anyone, and I think maybe because when people look for a job, they feel like sometimes this desperation to just be hired. But I think maybe in the new world, when you're looking for jobs, a lot of people find themselves now doing research on companies before they go to work there now, because they don't want to get caught up in companies that have scandals, or just maybe not stick with the morals that they have. And I think those practices should be brought into looking at an MLM company. There are some companies that if you start with the product, you may love it, but certain practices that their company does or has, you may not be in line with. And so you shouldn't go and work there. But one of the biggest things, if we're just being specific to this question, is multi-level marketing is a payment structure or a payout structure within an organization that when you're selling products to customers, have pay bonuses within them designed that can, you mentioned your dad had a portfolio. I could only imagine what he was earning, but you can earn substantial income as opposed to a traditional sales job, because it does allow for you with leadership to build your own team or create your own workforce underneath you. Pyramid schemes are simply structures where you're being forced in some instances to buy products you don't necessarily need, but you're doing that because you're being then told, if you go out and recruit 4 more people to do this same poor practice, you will be compensated. And that's where I think many people fall into they were in pyramid schemes, and it was branded or marketed to them as an MLM company. So because of that, they've now kind of written off an entire industry. And there are people who fall for something similar in maybe Sean's world, where they fall into Ponzi schemes. And all that is somebody saying, hey, I can give you this return on your investment. And then when they get money from another person, that's how they pay the last person. They just schemed out of the money that they got. And it kind of reminds me of that when everyone talks about what a pyramid scheme is. It's me joining something, and then I'm being told, hey, if you go get 4 more people like yourself to come in, then we'll give you a bonus. You know?
Yeah, I think that there's the one big difference is if you can never make more than the person, you know, who are above you, if you can never make more, then that might be an indicator.
Absolutely.
And also, you know, the pyramid schemes are typically under investigation as well. Once the, you know, FTC or whoever is in charge of governing that industry, that particular industry. In the finance industry, it's FINRA and a lot of agencies. But the great thing about the finance industry is that once I get to a certain level, I can actually sell my agency, sell my business to maybe an interested party that's also in the company, and that's pretty exciting. But I
think
do
that within network marketing.
Right, you could do that within network marketing, and I think what's also sad to see is that there's been a lot of kind of community fundraisers. I know we mentioned one in the pre-call called Susu that were kind of originally set up with the community in mind, and they've kind of been changed, like these rotating savings and credit associations. They've been manipulated and turned into more of a pyramid, when initially they on the onset they were really just community, similar to maybe health sharing or something like that. And
great point.
So it is hard. We have so much information coming at us that it's hard to decipher, and we're so quick to say no. We're so keen on saying no, and that can be a good thing. That can be a good thing, but it definitely comes with more research and that sort of thing.
Completely agree. And I think you're talking about a different, I can't even say they're generalized, because I know entrepreneur gets kind of thrown around a lot now, but it speaks to people who may have a different risk tolerance, which is not the easiest, or may not be what you're looking for when you're going into business. Business is risky. Businesses come with risk. And I mean that across any industry. Restaurants, there are people who I know after COVID wrote off the whole restaurant industries, and other people saw that as an opportunity. Like, yeah, we got a lot of these old people out of the way, all old restaurants, old businesses that weren't keeping up with what's necessary in the changing time. It's time for us to go in.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Well, I agree with both of you. You guys basically said everything. I have nothing necessarily to add at this point, except to say when I said I love talking to children whose parents did network marketing. Winston, I saw you looking around and I was like, yes, that includes you, Winston.
Oh, no, the reason I laugh is because when you said that, it made me think of, you've ever heard of like pastors' kids? And people will say, if you ever talk to a PK or something, it made me laugh, because in my head, it's like pastors' kids maybe reading the Bible or something when they're growing up. And it's like me playing, oh God.
Yes.
The Rich Dad, Poor Dad game with my family at the network, at the table, because my mom was in Amway. And my mom, actually, I signed my mom up in Prime America before I got out, and she continued to go build the team. So it makes me think of conversations that I know for a fact other families weren't having necessarily, because network marketing does open usually up, if people are actively in it, it opens them up to just being able to think much broader than the average person typically thinks. So I'm having conversations at 13, 14 about savings and Roth IRA and all these other things. I'm sitting there just looking at my mom like, I don't even understand. If I had taken advantage of it, I know I would have jumped into this industry much earlier if I had actually understood it. Because I didn't get it. I didn't understand.
That's a powerful point. That's a powerful point. And it made me think about, similarly, I had similar type of conversations around the table. And one thing is that, in the founding of our country, you had a lot of people who were business owners. Yeah. And now, the majority of us are employees, right? That left side of the quadrant, I think we talked about you brought up, Robert Kiyosaki, where we have employees and self-employed. Well, a lot of us, we're trying to get to the other side of that. We're trying to get to the other side of that quadrant and be business owners and investors. And network marketing can give people that chance, and there's hope in that. But with any type of change, any type of kind of hope, it's hard to break through. It's hard to break through. And, you know, maybe we were more fortunate because we had that generational passed down, that generational knowledge that was passed down to us a little bit. And it might take 2, 3, 4 generations to get America to where the majority of us are business owners again. But I think we'd be a lot healthier for that.
You know, to that point, if
are we gonna watch?
Go.
Yeah,
we can. No, we can.
Okay, so the reason why I'm interjecting is because I want to hear what everybody here has to say. And please put your comments in the chat if you're finding any of this like helpful, valuable. If you agree, if you disagree, please put it in the chat. We want to hear all of it. We're here for the discourse and the dialogue. But we are not going to be the only ones that you guys hear from today. We actually, you know how we do. We love to go to thought leaders and content creators to hear from them. We have an excellent thought leader on today. We are going to be hearing from Warren Buffett, the man who literally has been quoted to say, if you can't figure out how to make money in your sleep, you will work until the day you die. That man. So let's go hear from him about what he has to say about network marketing companies.
Let's do it.
Okay. Bill Ackman, the activist investor, who's also a Berkshire investor as well, has raised questions in recent months about the legality of the multi-level marketing company Herbalife. He called it a pyramid scheme. Berkshire owns a multi-level marketing company too, the Pampered Chef. Will Ackman's attack on Herbalife have any impact on the Pampered Chef or Berkshire? And do you believe Ackman's concerns are legitimate? How do you think about the debate over multi-level marketing companies and decipher which ones are legitimate and which ones are not?
Yeah, I don't know anything. I've never actually even looked at a 10K of Herbalife, so I do not know about their operation. But I think the key, obviously, is whether a direct marketing operation is really based on selling product to would-be distributors of one sort and loading them up, and instead of, in effect, selling it to end users. And a Pampered Chef is a million miles away from anything where the money is made in any way by selling to level A and then those people selling to level B and all that sort of thing. It is true that certain people, lots of people, get paid on the results, the selling results of other people that they recruit. But this business of loading up people with a couple of $100 package of something that they never sell, and that being sort of the main business. And I don't know anything about Herbalife on this. I do know about Pampered Chef, and that is not Pampered Chef's business. Pampered Chef's business is based on selling to the end user, and we have thousands and thousands and thousands of parties every week where people who are actually going to use the product buy it from somebody, and we are not making the money by loading up people and then having them leave the sales force and our profit coming from that. Charlie? I think that should be the distinguishing characteristic. If I were regulating the industry, I would look very hard at operations where thousands of people got their hopes as to earning a living by selling the product, invested their savings in buying a whole bunch of product that they didn't need themselves, and then sort of being abandoning the hope and being left with the product, and the parent company the main company just going out and selling millions and millions of people on a dream that was not fulfilled. Charlie?
Well, I think there's likely to be more flim-flam and selling magic potions than pots and pans.
At our age, we're in the market, though, for any magic potions, if any of you have them.
I love his quiet response. No, but he made a good point. And I think Sean actually started to allude to this. What especially people who may not look at business and like study the history of business. He talked about where our country was when we started out. Many industries that are now maybe status quo in some instances went through really challenging and years of regulations, going to court, having to prove their legitimacy as business models that you could adopt into, I guess, the mainstream, right? And Sean said this earlier, and many people, again, may start to become aware of this. There are so many companies that have an MLM model within their structure. It may not be their main compensation for everyone that works under them, but there are a ton of them that have some modeling. I remember the time, I remember being on a flight once, and when I recognized that they had the flight attendants as basically as reps for the airline that I was on, because what they were doing was going around giving out a pamphlet that was offering a credit card, and they had their individual rep number written out on the pamphlet, where if I signed up, that person, and the woman told me directly, was going to get money if I signed up for that card. Now, that's not her normal paycheck. That's just a little incentive to say, hey, if you go out and be a good salesperson, she's not selling me on the flight. She's not even really having to do much except for hand out a pamphlet. And if someone's interested, that person will, again, talk themselves into it, ask questions. She'll answer questions for you. And if they sign up, you get a little bit of extra money. What does that sound like? If I wanted to go, he's talking about pots and pans. If I went out and mentioned my pots do all these great things, I'm not necessarily having to throw a party I'm going to have to throw a party to get you into that, you know what I mean, to have that conversation, things like that. Whereas that woman on the flight is not having to do any of those things. So I think it's easier to get a person to do that when it's already a part of their job, as opposed to having to invite them to something, to sign them up, to then get them to do something else. So I think you'll find tons of companies who have employees who will just adopt this model and find ways to supplement their pay or pay increases, saying, hey, if you go out and do more work, you'll earn more money. And they kind of get through that argument of having to do pay increases every year.
So I have two comments for that. One, in terms of historical context, what I thought was really interesting is learning the story of Madam C.J. Walker. What's really interesting is that she built her business, granted, but she was only one person. What really took off is when she started to pay other women to start selling her products. Yeah. Exactly. And then if they ended up recruiting someone to also, like, essentially they could build their own teams
within them. Yeah, she gave them a portion of that.
And that's how she ended up becoming the like one of the first, right?
The first black female
millionaire in the United States anyway. So I found that fascinating in terms of like history, and no one thought it was weird. There was no like, right? It was like, this is how we do business. It was like a way of like helping the people, helping the community, right? And so I when I found that out, I was like, man, how do we get back to that mindset? Like, what happened between then and now? And we can dissect that, I guess. But and then secondly, to Winston, oh gosh, now I lost the second point. You said they need to be, they have the audience there, the card. Oh, affiliate marketing. I feel like what's happening now is that you just have a ton of people, because she's basically an affiliate marketer for the credit card, right?
Yeah,
that's really what it is. Mm-hmm. And so the difference between affiliate and network marketing is that affiliate marketing is one level deep. That's it. You can't necessarily make a percentage off of anybody who you introduced to that same product as well, right? So I think affiliate marketing is how it's going to start getting people to feel comfortable with this idea of like making profit just because you told a friend about this product or service that you really love. And then
yeah, I think it's an easier way. Yeah, because it doesn't sound like a sale. What is it? 76%, 80-something% of people, whatever, don't want to be salespeople, don't like the idea of selling or, selling a product. So what's an easier way to get them into it? It's the thing that they really tried to drill into even us at. It's like, oh, you're sharing, not selling. It's literally just wordplay. And then when you go to some network marketers or some people, they'll literally look in your face and like, no, you are selling. You are selling. Because that person is trying to appeal to that rep or salesperson to recognize the more people you talk to about this. And that's what salespeople do. They're a little bit more eager than someone who's just here to share something. So It's just talking to a different mindset. Anyone, I've been in I've been in many commission-based jobs. The trainer, the real estate agent that makes the most usually is going out and having to do the most, whether it's just networking, getting themselves out there, marketing themselves more. You're selling more to earn more. I'm not sharing with you that I have an apartment on 54. I'm taking you there to sell you the apartment. You know what I mean?
Yep. And I like how you brought up the airline example, because it's much cheaper to incentivize the staff to promote
Yes.
that credit card. And so similarly, MLM strategies based around promoting the maximum number of distributors, and it's much cheaper than a Super Bowl ad or print material or billboards, and it's more effective. It's more effective, especially for me, if I meet someone at a networking event, or if I talk to my mom's friend or whatever the case may be. It's much cheaper, and I'm more incentivized because they're going to pay me more down the line anyway. And so, and with the real estate example, it's like, because I get a lot of people trying to recruit me, and one of my good friends does commercial real estate. The broker in his office, no matter who does the deal, the broker is going to get paid on that.
That's exactly the same. Yeah.
Right. And so, in that scenario, it'd be very difficult for my friend to make more than that broker, because the broker's got a lot of agents under him.
Exactly.
And so what I love about there's a lot of potential for network marketing. And I think that getting commission off of a sale, and to be frank, my clients don't care how I get paid. They do ask me, oh, how do you get paid? I say, because they're more concerned about me charging them hourly. And so I just tell them straight up. I tell them, hey, the companies are paying me to bring you to them. All the companies I represent, over 70 companies, similar to some of the companies we've mentioned, who have this suite of products. And the client's actually pretty excited about that. Yeah. They're excited about that. And it makes it more equitable if I'm able to share information and give someone some basic fundamentals of budgeting, like we talked about last time, or saving, or retirement, or incentive, benefit, minimizing their tax burden. I can give them that information for free. And they're only going to have to pay once they're paying into a product that's actually tangible anyway.
It's something that they can actually, I'll make one last point. The thing that I love, and I'm again excited for more conversations like this on larger platforms, because I do believe there will come a point where many companies will recognize, like Sean said, if they could cut their advertising budget at any point to maybe save a couple people from having to be let go, because they're having to spend so much in an industry that's charging you more for ad time because people aren't watching. Like, you'll find the disparity in that, like the fact that these people are now have to charge you more to put your commercials on. You're not even getting as much in return on the sales side. They'll find that if they do what he said, which is incentivize their current employees with different bonuses, different payout structures and such, they'll be able to get a lot of that money directly from money that they already have in their budget. Yeah. And the last thing is just the educational side, because again, for many people who are entrepreneurs who maybe can't afford business school, or decided later in life to become an entrepreneur, post college or graduate and so on, I think network marketing, or a reputable network marketing company, is a great way to get into learning business, learning how to build teams. There's a lot of it that you don't have to deal with. You aren't dealing with maybe an accounting department, things like that. So it's not giving you a lot of those things. But let's be honest, there are tons of people who start businesses who have absolutely no formal education or at all, and don't know any of the things I'm talking about. And their area of weakness is with people. And I think the network marketing will definitely teach you, or can help you learn how to be a great manager, leader, a part of a team, because you don't have to. It could be your company and you not be the lead person if you recognize, hey, other people have better skills than me in this area. And that was one of the lessons I learned in network marketing was, hey, let other people who have better skills in an area, let them thrive, and you focus on what you do well. And I had a lot of success more peace when I figured that part out.
I just want to say one last thing. I know we have like 20 seconds left. When you brought up the corporate budget idea, if we think about it too, in addition to getting involved in something later in life at low risk, low investment, all that, for a lot of us, that the corporate, our corporate job that we have, it's expendable, right?
Yeah, very much so.
And if you're not in sales at your corporate job, then you're not directly bringing the company money. And so you're more expendable than the lights. They're going to keep the lights on, right? They're going to keep their IT budget up. But I mean, we're seeing thousands and thousands and thousands of layoffs just in the first quarter of this year. And so people's jobs are expendable. At least in network marketing, you're in control. Your effort actually yields to the results that you have.
I actually love that. I remember that. It was like, you can never, they always say, you can't fire yourself, you can only quit. No one's here to fire you guys. The only way people leave this is they decide to quit.
Yep.
And that's a big deal. That's actually a really big deal.
Man, if you love today's show, please let us know if this brought you value. Please share it with somebody else in your life. That tells the algorithm that this is valuable, and it will continue to spread the good news to others. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Sean, for coming on the show again. This was awesome. We'll bring you back again.
All right, guys. So that's it for today, but make sure you go check out some other episodes that we have. We'll actually make sure we link the episode we did with Sean earlier so that you guys can go check that out. But until we see you guys, as always, remember, you deserve the good life. Say that. We'll see you guys soon. Be well.